Well, I had such a good time doing a bloom in a butterfly coaster mold, my first bloom ever, that I decided to do it again. And I'm going to do a set of blooms. Am I out of my mind? Stick around, you know you want to know. Well, hello and welcome back to House of Papillons. I'm Terry. I keep forgetting to say my name on each video. I apologize. My name is Terry. Please just call me Terry. As I said in the beginning, I am going to do a bloom in these butterfly molds. Now, if you saw my last video, not last video, but it was number 14, I believe. I did a bloom as part of a bloom challenge, and it was the first bloom I'd ever done. So it took me 4 times to get a decent bloom, and that's what I'm working on. So my it's at 73 degrees Fahrenheit so far. So this bloom I've already, in full disclosure, you know I like to try and keep things accurate. I actually did this 3 times so far, and I got blooms, but it wasn't what I wanted, and so I'm gonna try again. The blooms I got were fine, but these are being made as a gift, this set. And it's a gift for a dear friend of mine named Missy. Missy lives in Texas in the United States, and I live in Maryland in the United States. So she's coming for a visit in a couple weeks, and I want to have something cute that I did in resin for her. I'm pretty sure she probably is the first friend who subscribed to my channel, and she's not a resin person. So the last time I poured this, now I did it a couple other times. Now I just told you I had 3 successes, but I had like 2 other failures before I did this one. The last one that I did was by far my favorite bloom-wise, and it could be because I changed the resin that I'm using. I am using Bond Crafter, regular 1-to-1, and there's a page that I watch of a person who does a lot of blooms, and she uses Bond Crafter 1-to-1. Previously, I had used 4-hour fast cure every time I did it. So I just had a really nice success, and I think that using the 4-hour fast cure, if I'm going to do 4 things like that, you know, like this, I need to make it make it something that doesn't cure as fast, because 80, because I think it was curing, you know, it would be too hot once I got everything in there, and the curing process had already begun, and it wasn't giving enough time for it to bloom. So I switched to this regular resin that Amy uses, and she had given some information on her page about how to do it. So you know, temperatures and all that stuff. So I'm looking for it to reach about 91, 92 degrees, and then I'll pour them in the molds. Now, you just saw me put in my white, which is this bottle. What did I do with it? This bottle is not marked, but it is the Bloom. It's called Bloom by Julie Cuts, and it's her paste. She's the lady from Pouring Your Heart Out. And I finally got it, you know, to bloom nicely. My bottle, the cap on my bottle was cracked, and man, if you've ever had bloom paste just all over the place, this stuff is sticky and stains, you know, everything you put your hand on, it stains it. In this, I'm mixing some blue ghost powder, and I believe it's by Saya, and it's the blue one. So these are going to be poured differently than the last bloom that I did. I watched a when I did that other bloom, I said on my page that I got the idea of doing the butterfly bloom from Callie at Callie's in the Kitchen. And so after I did that bloom, and I was all like, oh my God, I did a bloom. And you know how it goes, you get kind of obsessed with, now I must do more blooms. I went back on her page, and she had another video, and that was a butterfly, and she talked about how she got the recipe and the idea from an artist named Nicole Martin. So I went there and I looked at her page, and she had another bloom that she has done, another butterfly that she did that is piped differently, and she gave a tutorial on how she did it. So this one, I'm not doing a, I'm not going to do alcohol ink. This one is going to have just regular resin, obviously. And then I'm going to have a pigment paste and my white and a mica powder. Because I want, you know, the butterfly wings are going to be just all of these ingredients. So, let me get some, you know, when you use pigment paste, you need basically hardly any pigment paste. So I'm not even using this stick. I only have 30 grams in here. I'm going to take the teeniest. See how much pigment paste? And it's on my glove. I love pigment paste, love using pigment paste, but man, you get it somewhere and it's gonna live with you for a while. Let's mix this up and see how we do. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's what I want. I just tested it on a piece of paper towel. So to this, I'm gonna add an itsy bitsy amount of crushed crystal. And to do that, you know, crushed crystal goes a very long way, so you don't want to go crazy. I'm going to add that much crushed crystal. Can you see? Because, oh man, I have a piece of gold stuff. I think I picked that up off my table. Because I just want to add the tiniest bit of sort of magic. I don't want it to be like glitter. I want it to be, as they say, magical. So there you go. That much. This crushed crystal, I think it's probably really packed into the bottle or the jar. And so once you take a spoonful of it, or you know, however you're going to put it in there, and it all splits apart, it's when you mix it in, it's pretty potent. So do you see the sparkle? See over here on this side, you can see it sparkling on top. Ever so slightly. So I feel like with the ghost powder, with the with the crushed crystal, and then, oh, let me check my temperature. 88.7. With and the mica, it's going to give three totally different kinds of sheens that are in the butterfly wings. So that's what I'm going with. 3 different sheens and 3 different colors. The last iteration of these coasters that I did, I backed them with white, and I'm sure my colors just were not as vibrant. They're pretty, but they are, they're just not, the wings don't show up enough with white in the back. Most people don't usually back blooms in white. You know, it's just not, it's not really the most common thing you're going to see done. So there's that. So this time when I do this, hoping I get the same results, I'm just like, please. I'm going to back it in a gray, and I have till tomorrow to figure out which gray. This is from a little sampler set that I got from, I think it's from Marblers. And I have a light gray and a dark gray. And I may take them out and do a little test in some alcohol just to see what they look like, you know, as they are. And just see if, you know, see if that's going to be good for me. But I am doing this exactly the way I did the last one. Down to the pigment paste drops, the temperature, and everything. And while, you know what, while I'm mixing this up, I'm going to show you a little tutorial. I came up with a hack. Well, I didn't come up with it. I saw it on somebody else's channel. And I'm so sorry. I love, and usually I do, give credit to whoever came up with this. But it's one of these things. I didn't save it. I just remember that I saw this on somebody's channel. And I think it's the greatest idea. I was having trouble with one of the other times that I poured this because it's a whole set. And every time I would, you know, I found myself really fooling around a lot with the center part, which I was going to do crushed crystal. And you know, it's taken me forever to line it up and all these things that I think that, in my estimation, I think that it just took me so long that that the resin was way too hot. As a matter of fact, one of the times it was curing in the bag in my hand. So anyway, I came up with this. Again, I didn't come up with anything. I saw this on YouTube. Okay, I'm going to pour in my base. As Julie Cut says, I'm going to decant my base. Sounds so much more fancy. Love some Julie Cuts. This was actually at 93. Once you, pigment paste. A rogue piece of pigment paste. Now, pouring it into the mold drops the temperature. Shoot. 1 second. Drops the temperature again. So it goes up to get hot and then it drops it some. And this Bond Crafter, like, it's really thin. As a matter of fact, piping with it was a little bit of a challenge because I got used to using the 4-hour fast cure, which is much, much, much thicker. And I know that using a regular 1-to-1 is questionable because, you know, you don't want your piping and your bloom, you don't want it to fall to the front of the piece. You want the resin to hold it up in the back. And this does. Like it, well, at least it did for me once, okay? Once. I'm sticking to it. Okay, let me put my centers in. Oh, it's stuck to my glove. I'll turn it around in a second. For these centers, I used gold leaf and some glitter. Not glitter. It's the crushed iridescent, you know, color shifting stuff in blue. And if you do try to do the hack that I showed you, when you lay it down, the first time that I did it 2 butterflies ago, I didn't realize it, but it had traveled, and I saw it before, but I think I had already piped it, so I won't say it messed up my bloom, but it didn't. And also I found I try to press it down with the flat part against the front. It's, you know, tight, a little more tight, so that hopefully that makes a little bit of a suction to the front. And then what I've now do is I set my my alarm. I set an alarm on my phone when I'm finished the project. I set an alarm, and then I come back in every 20 minutes for the first hour, just to make sure it didn't move, because now it says it's 91. So now you're gonna see me. It's a little you're gonna ask why. These have to be poured sort of in a straight thing all the way down. So I turn them, at least for this first layer, because for me, I need to see something to follow, or it's not going to end up straight. So that's why I do it that way. Get busy here. So see, when I do these other colors, I'll already have something to follow. So it won't be so difficult. But if I'm standing there and trying to do all these sides, I probably wouldn't get it straight. Try to give myself as many, you know, many opportunities as I can to get it right. And that's the thing, you know, when you're doing these kinds of things, just take, you know, be kind to yourself. Give yourself some grace. And you should do fine. If you're new to the whole bloom game, which I still am, so my first bloom was part of a collaboration, and the reason I entered the collaboration was to make myself do blooms. And I was like, better just do it. And I'm so happy I did, because it's a whole new world, and I love it. And one of the things that I find so entertaining about it is that, man, talk about not knowing how things are going to turn out. You really don't know with a bloom. Don't be intimidated. I always tell people, you know, try not to be intimidated by trying a bloom, because lots and lots of the creators that I watch who, you know, are known for blooms, lots and lots of times they say, I don't know if this is going to work out. And, you know, everybody's quite honest with, you know, the bloom world and how it works. And, you know, it's just shows you, like, get out there and just do it. That's what I say. Sometimes, like when I did my first bloom, sometimes you need an entire weekend because you're going to be repeating it over and over. But that's how I learned. You know, I would go back. Something didn't work out. I would go back. I would find out, try and watch some tutorials and of other people and try to figure out what I did wrong. Oops. So see, now that these have a pattern, I can follow that. So my friend Missy, I know that she likes butterflies. I'll tell you how I know. If you've watched my channel for any period of time, you've seen my dogs. The French word for butterfly is papillon, and I have 2 papillon dogs. They are both rescues. They were from an organization called Papillon Haven, which is in the United States. And they're all over the United States, as a matter of fact. And they rescue papillons, and then they find foster homes for them until they can be, adopted. Both of my dogs were very young when I got them. Both of them were found on the streets of, just coincidentally, Texas. They're not. One is old. They're not even the same age. They're not biologically related. But Carter, my younger dog, was rescued by Missy, by my friend Missy. She was his foster mother. Now see, this center part, it moved. I got to that little bloom part, and I thought, why is that so crooked? It's because it moved. So I know to keep an eye on that little rogue wing. I'm going to put a little bit more blue over here. So I met Missy. I went to Texas to get him and met Missy, and we just hit it off, and I just think she's the bomb.com. And so she's coming for a little visit in a couple weeks, and she's a blast. Can't wait to see her. So she and her husband built a new home probably about a year ago, and in Texas. And it's I haven't been there, but I went on a video tour, and it's amazing. It's an amazing house. And under her, she has a lot of antiques, a lot of collectibles, and under her table, eating table, dining table, is an oriental rug that is, the back of it is pale, pale, pale blue. So I thought, well, you know, maybe that's a good color to do her project in. And she has a coffee bar, a special coffee bar in the kitchen. And maybe, you know, when she's having her morning coffee, she can look at the butterflies and, you know, do her thing. but she's such a supportive friend, and she rescued the life of one of my most important family members. So, you know, there you go. I just wanted to do something nice for her that she might like. Okay, now we're moving into dark blue territory, and I have this cut much thinner than the other blue. I don't know what that's going to do to it. And guess what? That little center has moved. These are just not... See, I think some of it is because resin moves as it cures, and most of the time it's moving towards the center. That could be what's going on here. I just know that I'm gonna watch it like a hawk. That's what I know. I can promise you. The first iteration of these coasters, the background was brown. When I did them, I did do the pale blue mica powder, but I didn't do the third blue. And to me, it bloomed. They're pretty. But to me, it needed, they needed to be thicker. And then I realized that the artist, you know, that did these, or the original, she does a, come on, Terry, use your words. She does the alcohol ink. You know how a lot of people do the alcohol ink, and you know, of course, that usually mixes in with the bloom and makes it, you know, just luscious. So I thought, well, you know, I didn't want that look. I want it to be wings, you know, the wings just kind of doing what they do. And the second one, like I said, I did it in blue again, but I added this dark blue, and then I did a white background. And to me, they're pretty, but man, I wish I had done it, because my the blooms worked out just beautifully. And as a matter of fact, I could see through the mold that it had bloomed nicely. And I went back and forth, and I was like, no, do the white. The white was so pretty. But, you know, until you turn these things around, you can't get the actual what's going on with it. Look, see. And, I didn't let myself talk myself out of it, and so, whoops, oh no. Okay, now I'm gonna do just a couple lines, just a few lines. I'm gonna start here and pull down, and I need a paper towel. Like I said, if I find the link to the person that did the resin hack, I will. But I am not a person who's just gonna take somebody's idea and call it my own, because it's some of these things, you know, I like to give credit where credit is due, because none of us would be doing this hobby if the brave people, who many of them do it for a living, you know, had not gone before us and taught us things. I'm enjoying these colors. The other time, my blue, oh, look at that bloom. I got a full bloom over here. Like, these are blooming. Like, blooming. That, the white has bloomed. It's the only bad part about using 1-to-1. I'm going to have to wait overnight. Oh, it's going to kill me. Let's go side to side. Wow, over that is full on bloomage. I can see it. I can also see a hair or something in there. Get out of there. Come on now. Well, maybe. There it is. Okay. Okay, I can calm down now. Put that there. There's a bubble. Okay. Callie always says, please bloom when she's finished. So listen to Callie, people. Please bloom. Everybody, cross your fingers, cross your toes. Have your dog cross his paws. Whatever. I'll see you back in just seconds. Our coasters are cured. At some point while they were curing, I don't know, about 3 or 4 hours in, I came in and I sprinkled the tiniest bit of sort of that iridescent, those glitter, it's not glitter, it's those flakes throughout on the edges of all of them, just to give them a little bit of razzle dazzle. I am using, it's by Marblers. I received, or I bought, a kit from Marblers that is, it's all different colors. I wanted to try them out, and this is called Dark Gray. And as you, I mean, it's dark, but it's not really dark. And then I have light gray, but I thought that might be too light. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the dark gray. And it is a mica, so it, you know, it has a sheen to it, or you know, that mica sheen. And so that's what we're doing. We're going to back coat these. And actually, what I want to do first, it's not very opaque. I think I'm going to just put a tiny bit more in to make it more opaque. I am using Promise 1 Hour Fast Cure. I love this stuff. It really. First of all, it's really, really thin, so bubbles just disappear. And it does cure in an hour. Now it cures to touch. It cures to demold, but it doesn't. It's not, you know, fully cured. Nothing is fully cured for a few days. So, you know, keep that in mind if you ever want to purchase this. And this stuff cures very, very, very quickly. As a matter of fact, in their literature, they tell you the faster you stir, the faster it cures. So please keep that in mind if you decide to purchase this. Mica powder. I believe the very first time I did these coasters, I found out that to back them, 2 coasters takes 3 ounces. So I just mixed 6 to be able to do all of them. And I'm not going to quite dome them. I want them to be just up to the edge of the mold, because if I have too much in there, it'll be, there's a holder that comes with this set, or you know, you make a holder, and if you, 1 second I'll show it to you, because I already made it the last time I poured these. I made a cute little stand for them. And if you pour them too deep, then they don't fit in the stand. So and last time I just sort of took my, there you go, I took my stick, whoa, to make sure that I wasn't, that it wasn't too deep. Like I said, I do not want to dome. I just want them to be, you know, as high as the coaster. I just took the clear, the first time I did it, with the leftover clear that I had, and I put the gold leaf in it, and then the back is the white that I used when I poured it the second time. I don't want to remake that because I like it. I like it a lot, and I think that that it really complements these coasters. I think it's very pretty. That stuff, it's not terribly opaque. I mean, I think it's opaque enough for this project. I think it's working, but I also didn't put a ton of it in there, but I think it looks really good. So I'll see you. We're coming down to the wire. I'll see you in a bit. And it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Time for the demold. These are not as dark on the back as I was anticipating. Oh, pretty. Pretty. We did have a little tiny bit of sinkage, but not bad at all. I have a little tiny bit of trimming to do. No biggie, will do. All right. Love that center with the crush, or the gold leaf. It is more like more of what I was going for. I have, the reason I'm laying these on here is because there's that iridescent stuff there. Nice. Now this did smear a little bit. Remember, this is the one that moved, and I slid it back, and that gave a little bit of opportunity for this to leak its way over there, but it's not, I mean, it's just sort of blends in. The blooms are just gorgeous. I really like the differences in the blooms, or the color, you know, the colors. You can really differentiate the colors. And, you know, some of these moved, you know, resin does what resin's gonna do, but it doesn't make me mad. Now these are almost translucent, so I wish I would have maybe put excuse me, maybe put more powder in, more of the gray. If I would have been a little heavier handed on that gray, it probably would have been darker in the back, or more solid. I don't think it would change the color, but I think it would be just darker. I'm liking this. I really am. Very pleased with these. Again, there's some movement there. I don't quite know why. Well, because again, resin does what resin wants to do. We can't always decide for it. But I'm very pleased with these. I want to show you the other two that worked out. So this was the first bloom with brown. And see how they're not thick. You know, I wanted them to be more lush like these. And that's when I then added that darker blue. And then this is the one that I backed in white. And the blooms, you know, worked so much better. I changed to that the Bond Crafter resin, which I did these with. And, you know, I like this, but it's just what didn't pop. So that's when I did the same, you know, the same bloom, but I did it with the gray in the back. And I think that really makes the bloom itself pop. I'm trying to get these lights to cooperate. So, please let me know what you think in the comments. I really want your opinion. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I appreciate you joining me for this project. I hope that I see you again. Take care. Bye-bye.